No one tells them or teaches them how to do it. It's in their code. They just know how to do it. But if you find an apple tree and you want it to be a pear tree, you could graft the tree if you were inclined, skill level wise. But realistically, you would have changed part of the apple tree. You would not have made the apple tree a pear tree. Okay, so opening this week's episode is last week's writing prompt. Now, I struggled. It was difficult, but it's fine. So the prompt from last week was, from the point of view of your enemy, your reflection walks out of a mirror. Arrogant prick. How dare he be so resilient? Why doesn't he give up? His story isn't the one that will be told. Wait, maybe it will. Maybe that's what pisses me off most. He refuses to be a ghost. What if I'm just more familiar doing a roast? I mean, we might get along. We could celebrate, share a toast. No, no, no. He is a fool, a clown, keeping his head up thinking he wears a crown. Always smiling, never wearing a frown. Arsehole. Drop your head. Fail. Look down. But he is different, softer, not weaker, just not what I thought. A glimpse of the person under it all, rarely caught. He thought himself a learner, always looking for something to be taught. Still a clown, still a fool. Maybe I will benefit if I use him as a tool. One step forward, he can carry me. He can be the mule. Maybe I can catch my second wind, a breath of fresh air. Might be cool. Yeah, man. It's weird. There's stuff that I feel like I need to work on, but we'll get there. Anyway, I've been excited for this episode because I have been thinking about exactly how I'm gonna start it for the longest amount of time, and I have it, right? So there's a saying. There's a thing that people say, and I'm curious. I wonder about it. The axe forgets what the tree remembers. Okay, that's kind of the first little premise of what it is that we're going to speak about today. It is fun getting to experience who it is that I am becoming in the midst of becoming that person without necessarily having to play catch up and all of that. I have realized why I have certain bad habits, something to do with the parasympathetic nerve system. It's also a breathing technique, unironically, and these two things just kind of lined up. So I think I've been panicked for as long as I've been smoking cigarettes. Can you imagine? Ridiculous, man. But anyway, yeah, so apparently there's breathing techniques and stuff. What's it called? It's 4-4-2-6. Inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Apparently this breathing technique can calm your parasympathetic nervous system or reset it. I just call it smoking a cigarette. But there's that. So this is probably why I'm having an issue with the quitting thing. But also not the end of the world. Different things. Okay, let's go back to our initial thing. Right? So the axe forgets what the tree remembers. Now, initially, I remember hearing this for the first time as advice for parents to their kids. Stuff that parents say with harsh tongues, their kids will remember, but they will forget. Okay, so on the walk today, I got to unpack a little bit of what it is that I was thinking around this thing. And then I asked more questions. So people, like other people that think and have brains and can communicate and can tell us what's going on in their heads, they can speak the same language, they can speak different languages, or they cannot want to communicate, right? So that's their three things. Now, if you wanted to communicate with someone that was speaking in a different language, you would either have to learn their language or they would have to learn yours in order for you all to communicate effectively. Cool. Acknowledged. What language do trees speak and what language do axes speak? Are you a tree or an axe? Right? See where I'm going with it? Okay, so it's such a weird thing to say it like this because it's so reductive. But indirectly, it says that the person that remembers is the tree and the person that forgets is the axe. It's a very reductive way to look at it, but for now, it works for the example that we're going to make and the things that we're going to speak about. So there are obviously moments where the language that you speak is sharp, is hurtful, is damaging. You are the axe. Okay, in that scenario. Okay, then with regards to the tree, generally people say stuff like trees don't move, trees don't speak, blah 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 blah. You know, all of those things. We're not gonna acknowledge that. We're gonna give the tree some human traits for a second, just so that we can understand. If the tree just spoke slower, if the tree just spoke softer, and if the tree just spoke a thing that you didn't even consider as language, right, you would never receive that communication. So in other words, back to what it is that we're talking about, you might never understand the pain that you caused. Because also it is connected to the fact that maybe if there are predispositions for certain things or for people to be inclined to doing certain things more or less than other things, certain things are risk factors for people that are not for others. Cool, acknowledge. Would it not then mean that in the way that you were brought up, in the way that you were raised, in the things that you've experienced in your life, in the things that you've gone through, you have indirectly learned a language that maybe another person has never spoken? Okay? And in these moments where you are a tree, where you feel you are a tree because you remember, you are remembering this life that this person doesn't know about. And in remembering that, you go from being a tree in one situation to an axe in another situation. And that's peculiar to me because when that is the case, there's a when you garden, there's a time to cut and there's a time not to. And it's about your knowledge and what it is that you know and how it is that you apply the skills and tools that you have available to yourself, right? So if you don't know how, or if you don't know what your tree remembers, you wouldn't understand when your axe is sharpened. And therefore, you might not understand the damage of you swinging it, right? Because also, if you just happen to cut the wrong tree at the wrong time, the growth disappears. The ability for growth, the potential growth is snuffed out by your decision making. And vice versa. There are people that have done you that wrong and they don't know it, and potentially nor do you. How peculiar is that? How interesting is that? So what's the point, right? What's the whole point of the tree and the axe and blah 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 blah? To me, I am imagining, if I just take myself out of the situation and I acknowledge myself as both the axe and the tree, technically it's pruning. It could be pruning. It could be understanding that there are pieces that need to be cut off right now during the correct season. This is the moment that the decision has to be made. And also what that means. Because when you cut roses, you got to seal them. You know? When you try and clone a plant, you have to put rooting hormone. There's nutrition that goes with the breakage, and a lot of the times I think people don't do that. I don't think the average person is also a gardener, so there is that. There's a lack of awareness. It's just let's see pretty flowers. But more than that, it's do the people around you know how to cultivate themselves while cultivating you? And if not you, then maybe just themselves. Do they understand that cultivation? Because you might not know your garden is not flourishing until a different gardener applies their skill to it. You know, some what's the whole one man's trash is another man's treasure. Da, 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 da. Does a tree cut in a forest without anybody to hear it make a sound? You know, all of those gimmicky stuff. I'm speaking about, yes, it is nice to have a voice that is heard. It is better to be in a room where you are listened to, and it is even better still to be in a room dead quiet and be understood. I agree. I'm not I'm not knocking it. But man, if you are immovable, if you are rooted, if you are placed where it is that you are meant to be and you believe that, then realistically, you have to be grounded. And if you are grounded, you aren't going anywhere, right? Nowhere but up, because that's the growth. You're gonna shoot up and then you're gonna spread up, because that's how it works, right? But if that is the way that you are gonna do things, if that's the way that things need to be done, it also means that you have the luxury of understanding that you will weather the storm, regardless of the storm. It's about securing your roots and making sure that those are stable so that you can do iceberg theory. What people see on the top is very different to what's happening underneath. So, how do you get the nutrients, right? That's the big question. So, what does it mean if you are struggling, chopped, pruned too early, cut down, limited, restricted? The soil's not deep enough, the soil's not healthy, the environment's wrong, you're a tree in the wrong place. I would just say get up and move. The trees don't do that, right? And realistically, if you are a tree that moves, someone probably just dug you up and stole you, which, again, problematic in its own right. So there's that as well. Because, terrible thing to say, but an experience nonetheless. People tend to enjoy new more. And that's weird to me. People tend to prefer less information. How peculiar. Weird even. Doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, so realistically, you can't move. You can't just pick your roots up and change where it is that you are. You could ask other trees for help, and it would be a roots thing, which is close connections, friends, family, all of those types of things. But even these people might not understand you because they are the first axe wielders in your life. So the trusting is an issue. So then the bigger thing is going to be to rebuild trust. But how do you rebuild trust with people that might not know that you don't trust them? How do you rebuild trust with people that don't know why you don't trust them? How do you rebuild trust with people that don't think the thing that they done to break your trust is something worth losing your trust over? Because you remember, you're the tree. You experienced it and it forever changed the way that you grew. The branches are different. What's happening at the bottom of your plant is not the same that's happening at the top of your plant. It's a lot of result without very much many control. Without a lot of control in your hands. So what do you then do? Right? Because maybe you aren't a gardener. Maybe you don't know how to self-prune. Maybe you can't trust when you are the axe. Maybe you don't trust your decision making. But then the question is, would you prefer to trust someone else's decision making over your own without them understanding the consequence, the trial, the output of them making the decision that they make in your direction? What about that? Could you spend longer than 5 minutes on a thought and run it forward enough where you are not just seeing the ripples that affect you, but you are seeing how your ripples affect those around you. And then ask yourself if those matter, if those ripples, and as they send out and bounce and connect into other ripples, are they things that you were prepared for? Correction, to not be the axe, are they things that you would help the tree repair from? You see, I'm running a a simulation in my head. I am attempting to redefine what it is that I understand about bonds, how it is that they form, why it is that they form, when it is that they form, all of those types of things. And things don't work if you don't work, right? Like there's a certain level of effort and sacrifice that falls into every single decision that you make. So my question is the big thing, and it's not something that I figured out. I think more people speak on this than I'm aware of. But realistically, the whole thing is the choice. It, everything comes back to the single fact of life, which is it's a choice, right? No matter if it is where you decide to go, who you decide to go with, how far you decide to go, in what car, to what area, to which province, to which country, these things are irrelevant. Whenever you make that decision, there's gonna be a bunch of other things that happen at that place, for that place, to get to that place, those types of things. This is more true if you are taking people along with you, or you are going along with people, whichever way that you want to speak on it. If you get to the point where I am only making the decision that I'm making as long as this person brings me value, because of the fact that I need to feel, full stop actually, because I need to feel. A lot of people have been telling me that they numb. So the numbness of the world, the survival instinct, if you will, is switching off people's abilities to feel entirely. Okay? And I wonder if one can understand that either, to me, it's so weird to have to say this. Okay, to me, it comes across as someone is either not willing to give the effort or muster the sacrifice. One of those two things. A very, very simple way to break it down. Because you make a decision, there's going to be effort. You're going to go on a date, you need to get dressed. You don't need to get dressed. You can be in your most comfortable, cool. You're going to go to a place. There's going to be things that you need to do. Okay? Upon those things happening, it's going to lead to an outcome. You're going to have a conversation. Low day, you're going to try. Up day, you're going to share. Angry day, you're going to vent. Whatever. That's effort. That is direct expenditure of energy in the direction of a person. Okay? Simple. Or it is sacrifice. It is having to pick between two things. Knowing that if you go out tonight, you're probably going to be tired tomorrow, but you'd rather have the experience of going out tonight because you've needed to de-stress and you just want to be free for a little bit. You know, whatever that thing is. But if you take that thing and you change it from a place to a person, are you willing to commit effort without result? Are you willing to sacrifice without result? And I'll throw in a kicker into what it is that I'm saying. Are you willing to do those things without you getting the outcome that you would desire? Because if the answer is no, it's probably use and abuse. You're probably taking advantage of someone that's not paying attention to things that you are not talking about, which makes you an axe cutting down a tree, and you don't even want the tree to know. And the thing is, you would hope that your skill as a gardener is something that is beneficial to that tree. But if you're bullying the tree, and the tree doesn't know it, the tree's never had to think about how it's growing, it's never had to ask certain questions. The tree's never needed a mentor, it just does tree stuff. Mango trees grow mangoes, pear trees grow pears, apple trees grow apples, and no one tells them or teaches them how to do it. It's in their code. They just know how to do it. But if you find an apple tree and you want it to be a pear tree, you could graft the tree if you were that way inclined, skill level wise. But realistically, you would have changed part of the apple tree. You would not have made the apple tree a pear tree. That's what I'm talking about. Consequence. Fun. Okay. Um, I've been wanting to give you guys I've been wanting to give you guys anime recs and movie recs in the stuff that I've been watching. So I'm gonna do one and one. So I'm gonna do one anime rec. I'm gonna do one anime rec, and I'm going to do one. What do I call it? Real people recommendation. So the first or the anime rec is gonna be Witch Hat Atelier. It's the season one is complete. Very good watch. Very very fun watch. In fact. I think they said there's something stupid like on one of the fight scenes. There was like I don't know if it was 2,000, 20,000 like drawings done for the animation. Just mind blowing stuff, man. Okay, so the real people recommendation is a show called The Burrows by the Duffer Brothers. Oh, is a old people Stranger Things, man. It was very well put together, very well shot, um, and psychological, fun stuff, man. Lots of stuff to play with. And then, just because I have my phone in my hand at this point, it would make it easier to do the music recs. Okay, so this week, so last week I gave you all stuff that I just really, really enjoy. This week, there's a little bit of a combination. But obviously, I'm going to start this week with Breathe by Masego. Right? Lovely. Then next, Sunday to Sunday by Russ. Because of the stuff I've been talking about, this is really fun music. The third one is going to be Sunshine in My Hands by Sunshine Girl. Fourth is going to be Reflection by Black Soil. And then the fifth is going to be Hate is Lurking by my boy Arlo. Okay, so yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Um, so be a tree, be an axe. Try and prune. Know that your decisions are going to have consequences. Recognize that in the fact that you are hurt, it is not something that must be dismissed. It is something that has value, but it has more value to you than it does to the bond because of the fact that only once you understand the pain will you be able to effectively communicate it. Understand that axes and trees speak different languages because of upbringing, experience, empirical evidence, what it is that they went through, why it is that they went through it, what it is that they picked to go through, with who they picked to go through it. All of these things, this will have some kind of result. Okay? Yeah, be nice, be kind, look after yourself, drink your water, do some physical activity, say hi to your friends, stay away from everybody for a little bit. You get to pick. No judgment, no X treatment. You be the tree that you want to be. You know how to do what it is that you're doing. So just do that, right? Carry on doing that. And then we need to go to our writing prompt for this week. Okay, so we over here. Okay. Right. So this week's writing prompt is my massive collection of mistakes. My massive collection of mistakes. Fun. Okay, so we got everything, we've done everything, so we know at the end of an episode what it is that we're supposed to do, right? Stay curious, stay kind, stay connected. Keegan out.